fresh locations and find a store near you.
Gotta stay fresh, my house shot with a rest bar, shot with a rest bar, shot with a rest bar.
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
The bounce is back.
Oh man, oh man, oh man, not again. Yeah, I learned the game from William Wesley, you can never check me. Back to back for the that didn't get the message. Back to back like I'm on the cover of Lethal Weapon. Back to back like I'm Jordan 96, 97, whoa. Very important and very pretentious. When I look back I might be mad that I gave this attention. Yeah, but it's weighing heavy on my conscience. Yeah, and you left the boy no options. I wanna see my go insane. You gon' make me step out of my frame. You gon' make me buy bottles for Charlamagne. You gon' make me go out of my way. I waited 4 days, where y'all at? I drove here in a rave playing AR-AB. I'm not sure what it was that really made y'all mad, but I guess this is what I gotta do to make y'all rap. I mean, oh, can't fool the city, man, they know what's up.
And he really did.
Second floor, Tootsie's getting shoulder rubs.
You are locked into hour 2 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. This is the show where we hit all the trending topics and headlines across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. And of course, we're going to be getting into That Guy and Charlamagne later on this hour because I think Drake is just trolling. I think Drake is just really trolling with everything. I really think that that is his album rollout approach. I think about what happened with the last album he dropped with 21 Savage, where they had all of those fake interviews and the Saturday Night Live promos and the Vogue cover and so forth. And I really think that he is bored with the conventional album rollout. We know he's not going to do any interviews. So he's just out there, reckless. But we'll get more into that later. Before we get into Drake and trolling, let's revisit what happened this weekend with Deion Sanders and, the game against Oregon Ducks? Yeah, they're the Ducks, right? Not the Beavers, the Ducks. So here's the thing. The expectation from a lot of people was that, the Buffaloes were going to run into some things, right? That Oregon was a top-ranked team last season, and that just in general, though, they were probably better in position to win this game, which they did. But the conversation surrounding it and the social impact has been so interesting. So on one hand, it's sports. You trash talk and you use any motivation as bulletin board material. You use that as a coach, as a player to motivate your team. How many fake beefs did we hear about from Michael Jordan? How many slights did we hear that never even happened that Jordan was like, and I took that personally, when there really wasn't anything there, right? But it does seem like these other coaches are really taking the opportunity, as Deion mentioned, to throw personal shots. We know the Oregon coach was like, yeah, they're out here for clicks. We're out here doing it for whatever the exact verbiage was that he said. Oh, they're fighting for clicks. We're fighting for wins. This game ain't going to be played in Hollywood. It's going to be played on grass. Ooh, burn. I mean, come on. But again, it's sports, so you got to hype your team up. And, we've seen all of this happening week after week so far. But it is interesting that none of these guys are like, yo, you see, you took that program from 1-11 to being relevant in 6 months. Maybe I could take something away from that. Or maybe you could learn that type of discipline and dedication and focus or anything like that. But again, it's a sport, and we are beefing until we are not. But Deion is handling it in stride. He did say that he thinks that it is personal about him, and that is who really all of the coaches are kind of targeting with their remarks and everything. He said people around the country will say this is what they needed to humble themselves. We weren't arrogant. We're confident people. Our confidence offends their insecurity. And we know that that is a sentiment that we have heard not just from Deion, but in general. Confidence intimidates those that are insecure. And there is some truth to that. And also, I think that Oregon, they were generally upset because their name wasn't first. And they felt that they were being slighted or overlooked. But as I said, that's a motivator in sports for a lot of times. But at what point are we going to get tired of wanting to see, well, not us, because we're all rooting for Deion. But I do think that it is interesting, though, too, like LaShawn McCoy, if you see on his social media, he's adamant. If anybody is against Deion Sanders, he's like, don't call me, unfriend me, unfollow me, don't talk to me. Because how can you be that way? I think that's a little excessive. People can like what they like. I get the sentiment of it. Here's a man trying to hold people down, do it the right way, be representative, but he's Deion, and Deion offends some people just by his confidence, as it always has, just by his brashness, by his approach. Pretty Brown Mimi in the chat says the caucasity of it all. They're just jealous. Go ahead, Deion. I mean, and indeed, that is a fact, but we will continue to hear this all season long. Andy?
It's not jealousy at all.
What do you think it is?
It's rallying up your team.
Like I said, right?
Simple as that.
Bulletin board material.
It's not jealousy at all. If I was their coach, I would be saying the same thing. Give your team a reason to want to go out there and mollywop these cats.
Right.
Deion Sanders just so happens to be a flamboyant type of individual. So, we're going to use that as bulletin boards. Simple as that.
I mean, and that's how I feel about it. I do think that sometimes there is, and I don't even think that it's like they're doing it to be especially malicious. I think that sometimes just some of the isms or the eeks just eke out. They just squeak out some of the thoughts. You can just see like, oh, you might be a little.
I don't know about all that.
But
man.
again, I think it's sports. I don't think that there's anything wrong with the trash talk. I don't necessarily want them to pull back. I haven't seen anything being said that I feel is like egregious or foul or, out of the realm of sports.
Here's the thing about that situation too. So I remember Shador made a big thing about the Colorado State players when they came to Colorado, how they were disrespecting the logo in the middle of the field. Mm-hmm. But you know what I'm saying, them same Colorado players, when they went to Oregon this past weekend, they were disrespecting that right there in the middle. Did nobody say anything about that?
Listen,
hypocrisy.
You cannot do that. And here's the other thing. The Oregon players definitely trolled the Colorado players after it. I mean, they won by 36 points, right? So, we've seen Shador post-game flashing that Rolly. And I'm not mad at it. I get it. Some people don't like it. It's a little much. I like a little trash talk. I like a little brashness. I get into that. Not over the top, but I like a little bit of it. I think it adds to the game. So I don't mind. You won. You did your thing. Flash it on them, right? But in return, you better be able to take it. And you better be able to, swallow that when need be. So I will tell you that those Oregon players, they were trolling, baby. They were showing their big old chains off. The chains were a little gaudy. I don't know how.
A lot of these chains are gaudy.
Yeah. I don't know about the clarity on the diamonds and such. But, flash your chain. They were talking cash mess. They were like, what is a buffalo anyway? We eat buffalo wings. It was just a lot. And that makes it fun for me. I enjoy it. Like, we don't, of course, want it to go too far, but I think that is part of the entertainment of sport.
Well, I'm curious to know.
Yes.
And I feel like I kind of already know where, everybody's leaning towards, but this coming weekend, mm-hmm. SoCal, USC, they're going to Colorado. Southern California, y'all listening, where do y'all stand? Y'all still riding with Deion or you riding with SC? I'm just saying. Because I expect SC to be talking trash too. Are y'all going to go ahead and say that that's jealousy? Sorry.
Let me tell you this. I expect to be entertained. I'm riding with the home team, but I love you, Dion. I respect you. I want y'all to do your thing, but I'm going to ride with the home team this weekend. This is one of the games that, again, I'm not going to sit up here and act like I know a great deal about college football. I don't.
But you watching it, though.
I am watching, and what did I say? Proud bandwagon fans, mount up.
I think it's okay. Everybody across America is a bandwagon fan right now.
And like, I have no issue with that. I don't mind. Am I going to listen? When USC was winning, when Reggie Bush was there, I tuned in. But that's like, that's our third professional football sports franchise in LA. That's how it's been. Sometimes the number one option.
I was about to say that's number one.
Really. But so I tap in and out, but I'm not committed. But I'm committed to this journey with Dion. So I'm riding it out like a lot of people. And I mean, look, keep it up. We got a lot more games to go. I might get a little Buffalo t-shirt, something.
I will say this.
Black and gold.
I will say this too. Even though they got blown out, I'm happy that they did score.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying?
It was looking dark. It was looking quiet, right? It was looking like scary. If they had not scored, that would have been a problem.
Yeah, so just that one score alone, even though y'all still got blown out, that showed me something that y'all didn't give up. You know what I'm saying? Y'all went ahead and y'all still bought out. So,
and Dion said that they are about 6 players away.
Yeah, I believe their offensive line needs improvement. So I think those are the 6 players that he might be referring to. So
I mean, listen, again, he's already exceeded last year's record. So, Tony Yayo says UCLA gets no love in LA for basketball, not for football.
Well, I'm gonna still rock with UCLA too.
I'm gonna rock with them too. Again,
over
home
SC.
Team. Over what? You gonna rock with UCLA over SC?
I'm UCLA over SC, but also
really
USC too. But I'm more UCLA.
I mean, I feel that makes sense. It depends. It depends. Like USC's basketball team. Right? I mean, you could go back to Harold Miner. We've had moments. I guess you could count Nick Young.
Whatever year that was, I want to say 2001, they went to the Elite 8, but they lost to Duke. I remember that year. Duke beat UCLA in the Sweet 16, and they beat USC in the Elite 8. I don't even remember who was on that squad.
Yeah. I definitely don't know. But is that like when Matt Barnes and Baron Davis? No, Baron Davis was there in 99.
This is 2001.
Okay.
So at least on UCLA, I remember Jason Capono was still on the team.
Okay.
I want to say Cedric Bozeman. But I can't think of who was on that USC squad around that period. This was after Jeff Trepanier and what's his name? Bluthenthal from Wackchester and all them.
Wackchester.
No disrespect.
Better give it up to the comments. Westchester comments. Pretty Brown Mimi says the Cali schools haven't won championships in decades, right?
We won. SC won 2005 or whatever, 2004 with Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart.
Yeah, the Heisman. I mean, we got it taken away, but we.
The real ones know we still won that damn thing.
Absolutely. Speaking of football, this isn't a football show, but I just want to drop this in there because we all love Sierra. I hope she's holding her baby Russ's head. I hope she's rubbing it and telling him, baby, it'll be okay. 70 points in an NFL game does not make sense. Running it up to 70 points in an NFL game as an opposing team and coach says, I don't respect nothing you doing over there. I'm not giving you any professional courtesy whatsoever. And, blank your couch, people.
I feel sorry for Russell Wilson because I feel like he's getting a lot of the criticism going towards his way, even from the coach. Remember when the coach kind of aired him out? And it seems like it's out there that Russell Wilson people don't respect him. You know what I'm saying? Even after, when he was in Seattle and the Legion of Boom kind of left, Richard Sherman left, and I forgot the other DB's names or whatnot. But once they left and they weren't that defensive team, you could hear, Pete Carroll saying some things about Russell Wilson.
You could see the cracks in the armor.
Yeah, and it's kind of unfortunate. It's a little bit sad. I really don't know. It's like Russ has been nothing but, clean cut, goody two shoes, and I think that it translates negative.
Well, here's the thing: do you buy what Richard Sherman said? Do you buy that Richard Sherman said that Russ acts like a team guy, but will go and undercut you to the staff or have those kind of conversations and blase blah, and that the image stuff is just that, like, not that he's not a good guy or that he's doing like the exact opposite behind the scenes, but that he's very controlling and concerned with his image.
Absolutely. I definitely can give credence to that. When those who get labeled the goody two shoes seems to be like the teacher's pet, right?
Yeah. Something
negative happens, they're gonna go ahead and snitch. So, yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. He does definitely give off those vibes, and I feel sorry for him.
I mean, you got to have an advocate. You got to have, I think it's interesting. Super Bowl winner, they've come close or whatever, but he doesn't seem to, and not that it means anything or you have to be friends with people you work with per se, but he doesn't seem to have any league friends.
At all. And I think, there was a lot of speculation, during that Super Bowl, whether he should have passed it to Marshawn Lynch. And I think that right there probably was a catalyst. Because I think a lot of people felt like, the coach kind of put it in his ear, like, yo, pass the ball, don't give it to Marshawn. But it seems to not have been the case. I think that was just a decision that he made himself because he wanted to, get all the adulation and whatnot for, potentially throwing the touchdown.
I mean, look, tragedy changed the whole trajectory.
Here go Mimi.
What did Mimi say? Goody two shoes are sexy. He pulled Sierra.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. And this is probably unpopular opinion.
Speak on it.
I do think that when they first got together, I think that they were a PR pairing. I think that they were one of those PR pairings that worked out.
For who? For who?
Who paired them together?
No, I'm saying who benefits from the PR pairing? Both of them, or?
Yeah, I think for Russ, I think that he wanted. Let's be real. We talk power couples get more coverage. They just do. I wrote about this in my book. Here's the thing. As much as we love LeBron James, right? We equally get excited for Savannah. Why? What did she do? Savannah doesn't even really talk. Not like that. I love Savannah. I've met her on a couple of occasions. Sweet woman, always looks gorgeous or whatever. But why do we just love her? We just do, right?
Because she's associated with LeBron James.
Exactly. So I'm saying, look at Kevin Durant is not as beloved, right? Great player, great story, future Hall of Famer.
That's on him, though.
Interesting. It is on him. Kevin's a little, huh?
I see where you're going,
but Kevin doesn't have a significant other to show his softer side, to show he's not a dad, right? So you don't get to see the sensitive aspect of him. You just get to see ball player and grumpy old guy at this point, throwing shots on the internet. Right?
Yeah.
It's a reason why they would tell athletes back in the day, get in a relationship, settle down. It makes you look more stable. It makes you look more relatable.
It's crazy because it seems that, yeah, even though it might be a PR stunt, it seems to bring him negative press.
Who, Russ?
Yeah.
I don't think it did it first.
Okay.
I think what happened is, one, he is... I think that if there is a type of woman that inflames a certain type of black woman that will get them riled up or talking, I feel like Russ, as we've seen through these conversations over the year, is that guy for men. We've seen other athletes, Channing on the pivot, was saying that Russ was corny,
Right.
you know, and there was all of these debates when he does something for whatever reason. There's a certain segment of black men, not all of y'all, not a majority
You
of
questioning
y'all,
his blackness now, huh?
that not just that, but that think he's a sucker because he is a stepfather and active and, you know, supportive stepdad to Future's son. It is, you know, Future versus Russ. Two very opposite, you know, it's like the quintessential storyline on, like, you know, Dawson's Creek or stuff like that, except we're black. We have the, you know, clean cut football quarterback superstar, and then the bad boy druggy rapper, you know, the one that gets you in trouble but somehow seems more sexy and mysterious, and then, you know, the little shots that he throws. And Russell smoothed out because realistically, and again, doesn't necessarily mean anything, but we know that Russell was with a white woman before he got with Ciara. And I think that based on that and the type of black man that he appeared to be to some, people didn't really think he was checking for black women like that, or black culture, or, you know, that he was the type of homie, you know? And I think that all of that changed and he became more down to earth, more connected one-on-one with the urban culture or social media, as it seems, when he got with Ciara. When was Russell with his first wife doing "we look good" with the look down and the look away shots on Instagram and the photo shoots? No, he was not. He might have liked gear, but his clothing game, the coordination, the ensembles got a leg up when he got with Ciara. So I think that they both benefited. And I do believe that they really fell in love and love each other. And I could be completely wrong. This is just what it seemed like to me at the beginning. I was like, oh, this seems like a matchy thing. Like, oh, that might be a good look for you. But you know, I think that there is some resentment for some men because he stepped up and parented Future.
There you go. Bada bing, bada boom. Because as you was breaking them down, you said nothing but positive stuff about him as an individual, as a man, as a black man at that. You know what I mean? To go ahead and stepfather another man's child for us. Okay, speaking general. But I do think that a lot of black men, we have too much of an ego to even assume that role. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's just... Come on now, the clean-cut lifestyle automatically gets labeled corny.
Right.
I mean, it's in my personal opinion, I think it's a little bit sad because you're trying to live right. I mean, you're trying to live right. You're trying to live life right. You know what I'm saying? The narrow path where not everybody goes, and you get ridiculed for it.
So let me ask you this, right? Because I think that in a way, not quite as much, but I think you'll get where I'm going with this. LeBron gets called corny sometimes for some of the stuff he does, right? Like with the music, like when he says, I'm reading the book and he's never passed the first chapter.
Because it's something like, it seems like he's trying too much. It doesn't seem natural.
So do you not think that some of the things that Russell has done seem as though he's trying in a different sort of way?
No. It might be Ciara's influence in their union to where you see that.
Because I look at it and I'm like, I would be lying if I said that I didn't understand why some people might think that Russ is corny. But that doesn't mean that you wouldn't necessarily give him a shot or see what's up. But I would be lying if I said I didn't understand where they were drawing that line. When we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't Black Down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars, working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage, career-track jobs. The Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing around anti-discrimination, learn about union apprenticeship programs, or sign on to a trade registry, please visit www.lablackworkerscenter.org. That's lablackworkerscenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank, any member FDIC.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Listen, Russ is cool. I'm not saying that he's not. Like, I'm just saying I do see the aspect that someone might say, oh, okay, he seems a little corny, depending upon what they're looking for. I didn't say that meant that it was a non-negotiable. I just said I understood it. So, what you got to say?
Isn't Nick Cannon corny?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit, yep.
Okay. You said something earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about a little bit of jealousy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think when people call or refer to somebody as corny, I think there's a little bit of jealousy there because they realize, because it's easy to do bad. It's hard to do good. And I think deep down inside, we all want to do some form of good. But because we see the next man actually doing that and doing good on top of good, oh man, he's corny. He's not like us.
Sometimes I think I understand where you're going with that. I believe that. But sometimes I think it's just like, it's just corny, like that's just it. And it's not necessarily something is wrong with it. It's just what it is. It's just like, a little cheesy. I don't know. We'll see what happens. When we come forward, we'll get into more trending topics and headlines. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Then tell that man to ease up. I did another one. You still ain't did about the other one. Got the drink in me going back to back. Yeah, going back to back. I got the drink in me going back to back. Yeah, I'm going back to back. I don't wanna hear about the Sever again. Not even when she tell them that they better as friends. Not even when you're saying Drizzy, tell them again. I've been putting on the show, it was a sellout event. Oh, you need better seating.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Esther Dillard, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The White House is warning of the consequences of a government shutdown at the end of the month. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack said a shutdown would cut nutritional assistance for nearly 7 million mothers and children covered by the WIC program. Congress needs to pass legislation to fund the government before October 1st. Meanwhile, New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez says he expects to be exonerated of federal bribery and corruption charges. The Democrat responded to the indictment saying many have rushed to judgment based on a limited set of facts. Authorities said a search of the Menendez home turned up gold bars and nearly $500,000 in hidden cash. He's resisted calls to resign from Congress. And the Writers Guild of America and Hollywood's top studios have reached a tentative agreement to resolve the ongoing writers' strike. And that's the latest. I'm Esther Dillard from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Prime members save more at your Amazon Fresh store. As a Prime member, you'll save 10% on hundreds of items in store, from organic produce to pantry staples to handcrafted pizza. Head to Amazon.com/fresh locations and find a store near you.
Gotta stay fresh, ma. I don't shop with a rest bar. Shop with a rest bar. Shop with a rest bar.
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
Bounce is back.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCES scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Girl, I know this might seem strange, but let me know if I'm out of order for stepping to you this way. See, I've been watching you for a while, and I just gotta let you know that I'm really feeling your style.
Vibing out to a little music. Happy fall. I think when the last time I talked to you guys, actually before this show, we were still technically in summer, and now we are officially in autumn. So welcome in Fall Harvest Collective. Listen, that's a vibe. Don't you miss those type of good feelings in music? I'm sure they're out there around somewhere, but you know, music's a little different nowadays. You are locked in to hour 2 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So before we talk Charlamagne and Drake, because I really think this beef is what Charlamagne said, I want to get into a brief snippet of an interview that the model Iman had. She was talking about Celine bags and working with the designer who worked with Celine, who was the lead designer, I should say, with Celine a few years back. And she said that this was, during a time right before the fashion industry was kind of hit up again about their lack of models of color, especially black models on the runway. And she said that, this is when Celine bags were all the rage. So I would gather, I'm assuming probably like early mid 2000s. And she said that the designer asked, would she have to work with black people because of the changes that were taking place in fashion? And she was working on a project with Iman. And Iman was like, I don't force anyone to work with anyone. But I'm sure in all the models that are out there, there's a black model that you could connect with that could showcase your work or whatever. But Iman said that she put it just as a note in her mind. And from that day forward, she had her own boycott against Celine. So let's hear her details, because I think that this is something worth noting. I think that with a lot of things, we expect everyone to get on board with our movement. And sometimes just as a consumer, taking away your dollars and spreading your message without expecting it to be a whole overarching theme or the blackout days and stuff, sometimes that's effective too. So let's listen to what she had to say.
One of the designers was a woman called Philo, who did Celine. Every woman, black, white, every age that I know of, coveted Celine bags.
Mm-hmm.
It was always, waitlist.
Those bags.
And so Philo said, am I going to be forced to use black? She's never used black models. So she said, am I going to be forced to use black models? I said, no. I mean, there's got to be the right black model for you. There can't be no black model that's not right for you. And but just by she saying that,
yeah.
I said, and I did this because I've done it, but I never said it, publicly. I said, for the action of she saying that she has to have the choice not to use black models, that's why I have never bought a Celine bag.
Oh,
wow!
She has the right to her runway, and I have a right to my pocketbook.
Absolutely.
So so I never owned a Celine bag for that. That's what I mean by boycott.
So I think that is an important thing to consider. That not everything is going to be able to be a tidal wave of movement. And I know social media has given us a voice in areas that we may not have always had, and allowed us to push. But I think also there is the flip side of that, where because we have a voice in everything, sometimes we're not taken as seriously. And the strongest votes that we can give are with our dollars a lot of times. So, I just thought that it was an important message that she put out there, and that she didn't necessarily, put this woman on the spot. Not saying that that is always the right approach, but it is the approach she took, and instead voted with her dollars. So just thought that that was an important message. Now, moving on to someone who never takes the subtle approach. So Drake and Charlamagne kind of got into it because Charlamagne, and this is all over social media, of course, Charlamagne said that no one was checking for the song Slime, which Drake dropped with CTha, which, oh, by the way, was another troll to that because he used a 2012 photo for the single cover of Halle Berry being slimed at the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards without her permission, although he likely had permission from Getty Images, which supplied the photo. But everything from the bobos in his hair to like Drake parting his hair down the middle and adding the different barrettes and bobos and bands, to his interview with the Bobby lady, to him being in Houston the other day and shouting out Megan and saying, he wanted to apologize, but then was like, no, not that Megan, this Megan. It just feels like this whole concept album, everything, is a one big troll. And is that most effective? Is that keeping Drake in the forefront of our minds? He had a very successful tour this summer. And I found this interesting fact out about Drake that I was pretty shocked about. Drake is now one number one hit away from tying Michael Jackson for the male soloist record. 13, right? 13. Oh, by the way, Slime You Out officially debuted at number one on the Hot Billboard 100 chart. But I agree with Charlamagne. I don't really hear that many people playing it. And I've only heard a portion of it, and I haven't gone back around to it yet. But I do think that there is something to be said about his whole approach in this era, and it all seems to be one big troll. So what I want to know from you as fans is that getting your attention more? Are you more focused and on point when you hear the crazy little out-of-the-box things that Drake is doing? Or are you really looking forward to another album from him at this time? I kind of feel like people are in this weird space with Drake. I feel like they're checking for him, but not. And they're waiting to kind of be impressed and for it just to roll out. So we'll see. Pretty Brown Mimi says, this is what I don't like about Drake. He goes out of his way to troll black women. It's still respect black women for me. I think he trolls everybody. But I do understand your concerns and why you would naturally feel that way. Because, things can be a little tricky at times and you don't know what side of the fence he lies on, really. What I will tell you, though, is while he's trolling black women, he's also gifting them. So he dropped off a nice iced out watch. I don't know if the stacks of money were included or if they were ambiance that she dropped into the backdrop. But Sexy Red said that Drake iced her out. She showed a video of a watch with a bunch of, stacks of money surrounding it and said that, she appreciates the big dog. So one thing that he will do is gift. Another thing that is really impressive about Drake and the tying Michael Jackson as the male soloist with the most number one hits in Hot 100 history, he didn't get his first number one hit until 2016 with One Dance. So just tells you what streaming has done for the industry. When we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. We're going to talk about 7th graders with 4th grade reading ability. Whose fault is it? Should parents be more involved? Are teachers not stepping up? We'll talk about that and more. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam, from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, non-profit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically black university. Congratulations, South LA, and congratulations to the dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Protho-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Now, I don't know if you have been checking out social media over the weekend, but there was a video that hit of a teacher, and he's catching some flack. He said that your kids can't read, and that even though COVID has impacted and caused all of the kids to fall behind a bit, that the parents are not stepping up and participating at home. And so there's been a debate across social media as far as exactly how involved parents should be as far as homework and following up with their kids. You know, his question was, why don't you know your kids can't read? Fair question, perhaps. But then the question also is, what if the parents aren't capable of helping the children out? I mean, here's the thing. Math changes, right? Other topics change. I don't know. What if they do not understand? What if their reading comprehension levels aren't there so that they can enrich their child? Andy is disagreeing with me, not trying to hear it. But I want you to listen to what the young man had to say. He posted this on TikTok. I thought he had a lot of valid points, but I think that, you know, it does bear the question, wherever he teaches at, these kids are going to see it. Their parents are going to see it. How will they feel? I don't know. What do you, and it also brings up the whole No Child Left Behind and how kids are passed regardless and just keep being passed along and passing along. You know, a lot of questions, but I thought he raised some interesting points, and I wanted to bring it here behind the velvet rope so we could discuss. So let's listen.
No, y'all, can we talk about it? Can we please talk about it? Let's take a moment to discuss. Let's take a moment to debrief. Let's take a moment to unpack. So I'm not really understanding why they're not telling y'all. Like, we all know that the world is behind, like, you know, globally, like, you know, because of the pandemic and stuff. But I don't understand why they're not stressing to y'all how bad it is. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but these kids are... I'm going to just say this. I teach 7th grade, they are still performing on the 4th grade level. I don't care how you flip it, turn it, swing it, swindle it. They still performing on the 4th grade level. Ain't nobody talking about how they just keep moving, passing them on. They just keep passing them on, 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 passing them on. I can put as many zeros in this grade book as I want to. They're gonna move that child to the 8th grade next year. Ain't nobody talking about that. Why they not talking about that? Why they not telling y'all that y'all... And why don't y'all know that y'all kids not performing on their grade level? Why y'all don't know this? Why y'all don't know? Talk about it. Let's unpack. Because y'all be quick to talk about, oh, the teacher this, the teacher this, the teacher. It's your job, baby. I just got here 30 days ago. She was performing on the 4th grade level since 4th grade. Why we not talk? Well, let's talk about it. You the teacher. You supposed to be, again, she been on the 4th grade level since the 4th grade. We in 7th grade now. So you let this child go 3 years and you never knew that your child was still in the 4th grade, ain't never left the... Hang it up, flat screen. And 4th graders being nice. I still have kids performing on grade K, 1, 2, and 3rd grade levels. I could probably count on one hand how many kids are actually performing on their grade level. So just imagine, you don't know that your child been on the 2nd grade level since the 2nd grade and they now in the 7th or 8th grade? Are you joking right now? And these are future leaders, our future doctors, our future nurses, our future... Please. Please.
Listen, I do have concerns for the future and our kids because the world is changing yet again. You know, we've gone through the Industrial Revolution, the, what is it? Of course, I'm blanking on the proper terminology. The point is, with each passing time, a layer of job security disappears, an avenue of work goes away, and the technical skill level steps up. It continues to heighten, right? So all of these kids that are being left behind, that are at 2nd grade level reading, 3rd grade level, comprehension skills lacking, what happens to them? What jobs are there for them? What are they to do in the future? You know? It's a scary, scary thought. And of course, no one wants their kid to be left behind. We're also in an era where teachers are not teaching for instruction per se, but to pass these assessment tests that oftentimes determine how much budgeting dollars that you're going to get, how many teachers will be brought into the school, the number of students that pass, the allocations for budgeting, for staffing, for extracurricular, things of that nature. A lot of it hinges on these tests that have little to do with the actual education and educating of students. And that's all fine and well for now, but these are real people that are going to be entering into the real world, a world that is changing rapidly. We see all of these people that are striking, you know, auto union, obviously the Writers Guild strike just ended. I mean, every industry is suffering right now with labor changes to the way that we structure, changes to what is even considered a job, qualifications. How are you going to compete? How are you going to, you know, take care of yourself in the world? Universal basic income probably isn't coming. And when it does, it probably won't be for a very long time. And even when it does, it's not going to be enough to give you a decent quality of life. So, I don't know. Andy?
I love everything that teacher said. Everything that he addressed has been going on since I was in middle school, high school. I mean, this was 20 plus years ago. You know what I'm saying? And as an adult, I worked for a nonprofit organization, and we collaborated with, you know, local schools. And the number one issue that we had was parent engagement.
You worked at We Got Y'all? I'm sorry. I'm
just saying, the number one issue is parent engagement. A lot of the times, parents, they'll drop their kid off at school, right? Expect them to be taught, maybe not knowing how much of a class clown their child is, right? And then after school is done, you know what I'm saying, the nonprofit, we will come in. So, you know, like for the school and the nonprofit organization, so the parent was babysitters for the most part. So yeah, and then we had to drop the kid off at home, and when they get home, do you think the parent is over here really, you know, holding their kid accountable when it comes to homework? Are they really holding them accountable to see how far their reading skills are? 9 times out of 10, no. You know what I'm saying? So I'm putting a lot of the responsibility on parents.
I feel like, I know it's hard as a parent. I know that, the demands are more, you got to work more. Maybe by the time you get home, you're tired too. You're trying to unwind and figure out your day. But I also feel like the least that you could do, right? Even if it's 10 minutes, because I get it. It's hard. You're tired. You don't understand this new math. They don't carry the one anymore. They don't conjugate sentences in the same way. They break them up differently, right? I get it. That mess can be confusing. It can, it feels like more homework for you and you're just trying to survive too, right? But be aware. There are, as you said, there are nonprofit programs. There are programs that will help your child with reading. There are programs that will help your child with math and science. And they are looking for kids to be involved. I just feel like if you are not preparing your child for the changes that are ultimately going to take place, if you have learned nothing in these past 3 years, you should have learned that things are moving rapidly, quickly, and it can all turn on a dime. None of this is guaranteed.
And once again, you said it. Blame has to go on the schools, the system itself, because it is a money grab. They're like, bump that. We need these many students to pass so we can get this amount of money. So that's unfortunate too. Every time when it comes to business, it's at the expense of something that could really be truly valuable, you know what I'm saying, to the community. But, they need that bread. So we're going to go ahead and pass these kids. And you're going to send them off to the real world and you wonder why they over here struggling.
I mean, Pretty Brown Mimi says parents don't always have the skills to help their kids in school. And I touched on that, but
that's because they're kids themselves. Not all of them, but there are adults who 21 having kids or 19 having kids. True. They haven't developed yet either.
That is very much fact. When we come forward, we're going to get all into this Usher being awarded the Super Bowl story. I have questions. I want to know why people don't. Though I feel like Usher has gotten his flowers in large portions over the past couple of years, especially in the 2 years since he launched this residency. I want to know why some people don't consider him as Beyonce's peer. We're going to look back at some of the accolades that Usher has received over his career. We're also going to take a look at a comment Floyd Mayweather Jr. said about the type of education he believes in for his children and why he pulled his children out of private school and put them in public school. Thought that was an interesting conversation, especially juxtaposed against what we just talked about, what is happening with some of the others. We're also going to get into Ari Fletcher. She was on Carisha Please, and they had a conversation about co-parenting with G Herbo, and it was revealing. All of that and more. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Hour 3 is up next.
If it's cool with you, maybe we'll swing by and you can just chill. Or you can just chill with me, long as you're comfortable and you feel secure.